Um, let's just dive straight into this because what happened in Georgia, honestly, it feels like watching a rocket that was supposed to land gently on the drone ship suddenly tilt sideways, flip, and then boom, just vaporize on impact. Um, and as someone who literally watches rockets do strange things before breakfast, I mean, yeah, this was still surprising because this wasn't supposed to happen, not politically, not mathematically, not under the engineered conditions Republicans built. Um, and yet, here we are. A Republican gerrymander in Georgia just um, backfired completely, spectacularly. Like an engine that was supposed to fire at 30% thrust, suddenly going to negative thrust. And the exact district they carved to protect themselves, the one they sliced and diced with surgical precision, just flipped blue. So, yeah, um, that's kind of a big deal. Eric Gissler, um, a Democrat, won Georgia's House District 121. And just to be super clear, this isn't Congress. This is local, state level, but the implications, yeah, they're massive, gigantic system level implications because this district was engineered, modeled, and mathematically sculpted to stay red. Republicans split Athens, this big college town, into three conservative leaning districts. The idea was dilute the youth vote, stack the deck, create a firewall. Very classic political engineering. But the firewall didn't just fail, it collapsed inward. And here's the wildest part. Last November, like literally a year ago, Gissler ran for the same seat and he lost 61-39. I mean, that's not a close race. That's like launching a rocket and it immediately just tips over on the pad. Total wipeout. Most candidates wouldn't come back from that, but he did. And this time, um, he won 51-49. That's a more than 40-point shift. Um, yeah, that's not normal. That's a political singularity event. That's the kind of shift that violates the usual laws of electoral physics. Um, Greg Bluestein from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, um, one of the sharpest journalists covering Georgia, called it a stealth upset, and Republicans were clearly stunned. Even the ones who aren't MAGA on paper but still enable Trump's policy ecosystem. And honestly, when you look at the system as a whole, their shock kind of makes sense. Because this wasn't supposed to be possible. And this wasn't just a Georgia phenomenon. On the same night, Miami flipped its mayoral seat blue for the first time in 3 decades. Eileen Higgins won by about 20 points. The previous MAGA mayor won by 67 points. So, um, yeah, that's a 90-point swing in partisan gravity. That's the political version of discovering gravity suddenly works sideways. But back to Georgia, because that's where the engineering failure is the clearest. Republicans believed they could stabilize the district, and historically, gerrymandering is effective, very effective. Political scientists from Emory and UGA have written entire studies showing how Georgia Republicans use high resolution demographic modeling, uh, precinct level microdata, and turnout prediction algorithms to build districts like sturdy machines. But the machine malfunctioned. The UGA campus precinct shifted by 45 points toward Gissler, countywide shifts of 28 points. In Oconee County, traditionally conservative, there was an 8-point Democratic surge. And this tracks with research from Yale, Harvard, Reuters, Pew. Um, Trump is collapsing among voters aged 18-29, not declining, collapsing among. And the Yale Youth poll shows that young Americans feel economically betrayed, not metaphorically, literally. They can't afford rent. They can't afford homes. They can't afford insurance. They feel like the future, um, yeah, has been sold off. Trump promised affordability on day one. He said, and everything became less affordable.
Now, many Americans would disagree with that grade that he gave himself. A Fox News poll found 76% of voters have a negative view of the economy. Now, that's 6 points higher than how they felt at the end of the Biden presidency. That's really saying something.
Meanwhile, he walks around giving himself an A, which is, let's just say, not aligned with data. Fox News polling says 76% of Americans think the economy is bad. That's Fox News. So, yeah. And Eric Gissler tapped directly into the one thing people actually care about right now, affordability.
This is a state government position, right? And if you pay attention to what's been happening at the state level for the last several years, there's a lot of things that have not gone well, right? We mentioned the abortion ban. I think most voters agree that that's not the right way to do it. We never expanded Medicaid. I think that's still possible. It gets a little weird because of this new bill that came out. I think it's still possible to do it. It's harder to do, and you don't expand quite as much, but it's still possible. And without it, we've seen rural hospitals closing all around the state. We're looking at 750,000 Georgians are about to be priced out of insurance in January. That's a crisis. That's on top of I think it's 1.2 million Georgians who don't have any insurance at all right now. You put those two together, that's 2 million out of 11 million Georgia citizens that have no access to healthcare. The SNAP stuff was 1.4 million Georgians. Would it be 1.4 million Georgians that were dependent on SNAP for nutritional assistance if the minimum wage had been raised a few years ago? Probably not, right? People would probably be able to make ends meet a little bit better. And we talked about how many Georgians are about to go without insurance. Those of us who have insurance through an employer, it's not that great either. I don't know about you, but I'm paying a pretty hefty premium every month and a $5,000 deductible. So, I'm paying thousands of dollars every year just to have insurance, and then thousands of dollars on top of that if I use it, right? It's crazy. You look at car insurance. Georgia has one of the highest car insurance rates, premiums, in the Southeast, higher than all of our neighbors. Housing. I've almost lost the question that you asked me at this point. I could
just to highlight
on.
things on your platform that you are really passionate about.
Housing. I know that's a big issue here in Athens. It doesn't seem like it's as big as one in Oconee, but the truth is housing prices going up and the supply not keeping up. Supply and demand, economics 101, right? If you don't have enough houses for the people, then the prices of those houses are going to go up, right? We're seeing that in Athens. We need more supply at the end of the day. At the state level, we can pass incentives for local governments to change their zoning or maybe incentivize them to approve, more dense plans, housing plans. People don't think that's impacting Oconee County, but if you think about it, why do most people move to Oconee County? You probably know, right? It's the school system. It's one of the best school systems in the state, if not the country. People like to move there, and who moves for school systems? It's young families. Well, if things keep going the way they are in Oconee County, young families aren't going to be able to afford to live there. And I think a lot of people out there don't even see it coming, but it's there. It's on the horizon.
All of this is real, verified, reported by Bloomberg, Reuters, and the Kaiser Family Foundation. And when he explained housing, he made it so simple. Supply and demand, not enough homes, too many people, prices go up. And he warned that young families, the ones who move for good school districts, won't be able to afford living in Oconee County soon. And the craziest part, people nodded along because it's true. Meanwhile, Trump goes on stage in Pennsylvania at a casino ballroom
You know, and I said it the other day, and a lot of people misinterpreted it. They say, oh, he doesn't realize prices are high. Prices are coming down very substantially. But they have a new word. You know, they always have a hoax. The new word is affordability. So they look at the camera and they say, this election is all about affordability. Now, they never talk about it. They never talk. Thank you very much. They say I'm not allowed to run. I don't know what the hell that's all about, but that's okay. He said 4 more years. You see the new hat? We have 4 more years.
And you can almost hear the crowd thinking, what planet are you on? CNN fact-checked him in real time. Americans aren't giving him an A. They're giving him a failing grade. Consumers feel worse than they did at the end of Biden's term. Moody's Analytics reported that Trump's economic disruptions contributed to volatility and uncertainty, not stability. And you can't fix that with slogans. Then you have Marjorie Taylor Greene, someone whose entire brand is chaos, suddenly saying Republicans are losing because Americans are suffering economically.
And so I think it's absolutely the worst move, and it's the worst political move to have the House in recess and for us to not be here working.
Do you believe right now, as we talk about, the situation that's taking place here with the shutdown, do you believe that Republicans as a party right now are unified? Are Republicans fractured? Somewhere in between? What are your thoughts?
Well, it seems like Republicans in Washington, D.C. may be unified, but I don't think they are across the country. I think there's a lot of disenfranchised 2024 voters. And I think that was clearly obvious in Tuesday's election. Now, there's pushback against me saying, well, we knew Virginia and New Jersey and New York would go Democrat. And of course, that's true. I said the same thing, but I'm from Georgia, and we lost 2 statewide public service commission seats, and we lost them heavily. Democrats won those seats at 60%. Republicans only got 40%. There's other races in Pennsylvania and Mississippi proving the same thing, that voters are not happy. But really, I'll push everyone to pay attention to the true financial hardship that Americans are facing right now. And this is very much affecting my children's generation, who are 22, 26, and 28. And that generation is looking towards the future with very little hope. And so for me personally, I ran for Congress in 2020, criticizing Democrats and Republicans almost equally, that Congress and Washington, D.C. always fails the American people. And I think the alarms are blaring right now.
And Eileen Higgins hammered him gently but decisively.
With the thing that has gotten you a lot of attention, the fact that you were endorsed by Donald Trump. Was that something that you sought?
It was something that came to me quite by surprise. I literally was resting, reading, my phone went off, and I thought, gee, what happened? Somebody died. What's going on here? And it was just people telling me, hey, you've just been endorsed by the president. I do know that the president, because he's a resident of the state of Florida, and there's talk of putting a library here in Miami, he follows events in Florida. He follows events closely. And so I wasn't surprised, but it wasn't something that, I called up there and said, hey, can you do this for me?
All right. And given that Miami is a city of immigrants.
Yes, sir.
When you accept Donald Trump's endorsement, when he tweets out and puts out on there that he believes in you because you agree with his vision when it comes to migrant crime and the rest of it, I'm curious, do you support the president's policies when it comes to rounding up immigrants? 60% of the residents of the city of Miami were born outside the United States. The vast majority of the people who are being detained, who are being picked up, do not have criminal records. Are you supportive, and will you help Donald Trump enforce that policy?
Well, you just said it. I support rounding up people who commit crimes. The president says that I support putting down migrant criminals. I cannot, in good conscience, fight the federal government and defend a rapist or a murderer like happens in other cities.
But the majority of the people being picked up right now are not rapists.
Yes, but the majority, what you're talking about is a federal issue. This is a federal issue that has to do with Homeland Security. This is not an issue that has to do with the mayor of Miami. Now, mind you, I know who to talk to. I've been the immigration director. I can advocate for our community, which I certainly will. I plan on adding an immigration services staff member to help guide us through this. But this is not a topic that you want to just take on the president for. It's ludicrous. The president sees Florida as very important. He sees Miami as very important. And he has backed me because he feels that I have the leadership qualities to bring the city forward.
I want to bring Eileen in on this, just on the issue of immigration policy and the next mayor of Miami. He's absolutely right. Mayor of Miami does not have say over federal immigration policy. But there is a sense that if Donald Trump is supporting you, that there is a tacit agreement with the policy. Are you concerned by what's happening in the city of Miami?
I'm very concerned with what's happening in the city of Miami for two reasons. First of all, they said they were going to go after criminals, but guess what? They're going after everybody. Every time I am out in our neighborhoods, people are telling me this story of someone they know, a friend, a relative, that has had something happen to them, including going to Alligator Alcatraz. So in addition to being inhumane and cruel, it's also bad for the economy. 2 weeks ago, our federal government, the president, eliminated TPS for Venezuelans. It's almost 100,000 people who have TPS from Venezuela in Miami-Dade County. So I was speaking to a gentleman, has a health clinic. He received notification from the federal government that he had to fire 27 people
Let me ask you
they
this.
lost their work status.
Do you think he should have rejected the endorsement?
He's the president. I'm very glad the president did not endorse me.
And all of this together forms one message. The electorate is changing faster than the GOP can model it. So, yeah. If you're listening, if you're watching, this is the moment to pay attention, because the systems we build, political systems, economic systems, technological systems, they only work if they serve the people inside them. And right now, people are demanding change loudly, clearly, unmistakably. So if you want more breakdowns like this, support independent media, hit subscribe, help this channel get to 6 million subscribers. Stay informed, stay engaged. And remember, democracy, kind of like rockets, only flies if you actually build it correctly. Let's build something better together.